A single piece of paper cost less than a penny to print, yet it became the most counterfeited object in Victorian history, and nobody saw it coming. Before 1840, sending a letter was chaos. The recipient paid, not the sender. If you didn't want a letter, you refused it, and the postal worker ate the cost. Rich people sent letters freely. Poor people didn't send anything. And here's the trick. The entire British postal system was hemorrhaging money because the fee structure made no economic sense. Enter Rowland Hill, a teacher and reformer. In 1837, he published a pamphlet proposing something radical. Charge the sender a flat rate up front. Per payment, 1 penny. That's it. No negotiation, no refusal, no postal worker gambling on whether someone would pay. The math was elegant, volume would spike, transaction costs would drop, and the post office would actually turn a profit. The government tested it. May 1840, the penny black launched. 1 penny, black ink on white paper. Simple. It featured Queen Victoria's profile, a portrait so small and detailed that copying it seemed impossible. That was the bet. That was the entire security model, and for about 6 months it worked. But here's where the paradox emerges. The penny black's success created its own vulnerability. Volume exploded. Millions of stamps flooded into circulation. And because the stamp was proof of payment, a physical receipt, it became the most obvious target for counterfeiters in the empire. Why forge currency when you can forge stamps? Less legal risk, same profit margin. Exhibit 1. By 1841, forged penny blacks were circulating so widely that the post office couldn't distinguish them from legitimate stamps without a microscope. The engraving was good, not perfect, but good enough. A postal clerk processing thousands of letters per day, he wasn't pulling out a magnifying glass for everyone. The economics of counterfeiting were brutal. A forger could produce fake penny blacks for a fraction of a penny. They'd sell them to dishonest merchants and postal workers at 70 to 80% of face value. The merchant buys 100 fake stamps for 30 pence, sells them as legitimate, pockets the difference. The post office loses the revenue. The system leaks. Exhibit 2. The government's response. They couldn't strengthen the design fast enough to outrun the counterfeiters, so they did something smarter. They pulled the penny black from circulation after 1 year. May 1840 to May 1841. That's it, 1 year. The stamp was replaced with the 2 penny blue, which had a different design, different color, different everything. But this created a second problem nobody anticipated. Because the penny black was pulled so quickly, legitimate stamps became rare. Collectors and dealers began hoarding them. Demand spiked, price multiplied, and suddenly the financial incentive to counterfeit the penny black became even stronger because a real one was worth far more than face value. Exhibit 3. Forgers adapted. They began producing counterfeit penny blacks intentionally marketed as collectibles, not to cheat the post office anymore, to deceive collectors. The same stamp that was too easy to forge for postal fraud became too valuable to ignore for collector fraud. The counterfeiters simply pivoted their market. This is where the forensic accounting gets interesting. The post office's actual loss wasn't just the forged stamps in circulation, it was the confidence collapse. Merchants and customers started questioning whether any stamp was real. That friction slowed adoption, and adoption was the entire business model. The solution wasn't better design, it was cancellation. The post office began requiring stamps to be defaced, marked with ink or pen once they were used. A cancelled stamp couldn't be reused. It couldn't be sold as a collectible. Its only value was historical. And here's the trick. This single requirement killed the collector's market for used stamps almost overnight. But it also killed the incentive to counterfeit penny blacks for collector fraud. Why forge a stamp that everyone knew would be cancelled? The entire secondary market evaporated. The counterfeiters moved on to other stamps, other schemes. The penny black paradox resolved itself through a policy change that nobody predicted would work. Exhibit 4. The long-term impact on currency design. The penny black taught governments everywhere that security features matter, but only if they are enforced by systems, not just by the object itself. A stamp is only as secure as the cancellation process. Money is only as secure as the banking system backing it. Design alone doesn't work. By the 1850s, the penny black had become a collector's item precisely because it was obsolete. Ironically, the stamps that were easiest to counterfeit became the most valuable. A genuine penny black today sells for hundreds of pounds. A counterfeit from the 1840s, often worthless because nobody wants a forgery of a worthless stamp. The real paradox isn't that the penny black was counterfeited, it's that counterfeiting it was both inevitable and unsustainable. The system had no built-in defense until the post office created one, and once they did, the entire ecosystem of forgery collapsed. The economics changed, the incentive disappeared, the fraud stopped being profitable. This is the forensic accounting lesson. You can't prevent fraud by making something harder to copy. You prevent it by making fraud unprofitable. The penny black wasn't saved by better engraving. It was saved by cancellation, a policy change, a system redesign. That's where the money actually got protected. The penny black did revolutionize communication. It proved that prepayment worked. Volume exploded. The postal system became profitable. But it also revealed something uncomfortable. Innovation creates vulnerabilities. Every system that works creates an incentive for someone to exploit it. The question isn't whether fraud will happen, it's how you'll respond when it does. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the hidden economics of history, where the money actually went. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.